Time now for sports on 104.7 The Cave. Here's Ned Reynolds.
Mike, the intern Ned Reynolds, thank God it's a Red Friday. So, last night going into that Thursday night game, I would have thought, or maybe hopefully I wasn't alone, in that it was going to be a little bit closer of a game. But man, right out of the get-go, the Dolphins just kept shooting themselves in the foot.
When you take a look at the numbers, and this is how misleading these stats can be, Miami had everything going for them. My gosh, they rushed for 351 yards in that game. And Buffalo only had 247. Not that that's a paltry figure, but still, 351 on the ground. Now, Buffalo did outpass Miami, 139 for Miami and 112 for Buffalo, or 212, I should say, for Buffalo. But the big category, and you just mentioned it, shooting themselves in the foot. 3 interceptions. Tua threw 3 picks for 62 yards, and that took Miami right out of the scoring position every single time. 31-10 the final. Buffalo wins it over the Dolphins, and Buffalo has a hex on Miami. I think they've won of the last 13 games. Buffalo's won 11 of them, but they just simply out-defensed the Miami Dolphins, who made mistake after mistake after mistake. Tua was knocked out of the game in the third period with a concussion. How serious that is, one of their concussions, so he has to go through the protocol, but that was not a very good performance by the Miami Dolphins at all, and they're now 1-1 on the year. Buffalo 31, Miami 10 is the final.
I don't know what to think, too. I mean, you look at how many rushing yards they had, and you think, oh, man, their front five's doing their job, but then you look at how terrorized Tua was last night, and he was. I mean, Buffalo was all over him. It's mind-boggling, but definitely surprised me. Something else that surprised me.
I'll tell you what that is, Mike. When you put the pressure on a quarterback like that and having him perform what's called happy feet, that never is a good sign. When that guy doesn't have the confidence to get it done, your attack is going to be completely compromised.
And we all saw it last night. Anyway, in a time when a lot of conferences are shuttering up and folding in, we got one that's like, nah, man, we're not done yet.
The Pac-12 says, not so fast.
Not just yet. Or at least give us more money.
What they're going to do is add another 2 Pac-12 remaining teams from the original ones, Washington State and Oregon State. And they're going to form their own Pac-12 conference. They invited 4 teams from the Mountain West to join them. Boise State is a very good program. San Diego State, an old, long-time program. Colorado State, Fresno State. They are all joining Washington State, Oregon State in a new Pac-12, which is good. The difference is that the NCAA does not recognize a conference unless it has 8 teams in it. And this one only has 6. They've got to add 2 more in time for the 2026 season. That's when this will go into effect. That allows contracts that have been signed to expire. So we'll see what happens, but the Pac-12 may be back. It won't be quite the same as the Pac-12 that we remember with UCLA and Southern Cal and California and Stanford and those people, and Washington. But the fact of the matter remains they are going to try to remain afloat with these new teams and just see what happens and get some NCAA recognition.
Got some heated competition in the NASCAR playoffs right now. Where's race number 3 in that series?
This is 3 out of 10. There are 10 playoff races. Now, everybody drives. I think that's a misconception among a lot of novice racing fans. All the drivers are involved. But at this point, there are only 12 who are eligible for the Points Championship, which is decided in early November out in Phoenix. This is race number 3. It's on the road course, one of the world-renowned road courses at Watkins Glen in the Mirror Lakes area of upstate New York. Beautiful countryside, it really is. But Watkins Glen, very famous. That's where they run this one. This is NASCAR, folks, but it's a road race. The current points leader is Ryan Blaney. Christopher Bell is second. Tyler Reddick is third. The defending champion from last year is Kyle Larson. He is in the hunt. He is in 10th place. Big race coming up, Watkins Glen. It is a very tricky course to run.
Very much in the spotlight. We've got one team in Missouri trying to get that spot, and the other one's not looking so good. Where are we at with both teams?
Well, we'll talk about the Kansas City Royals first. They did not play last night. They're on the road and play in Pittsburgh this weekend. Very big series for Kansas City, which still harbors hopes of overhauling Cleveland, but those hopes are vanishing pretty quickly. Royals trail by 4 games, and there are about 15 remaining. Okay, the wild card very much in the Royals' strong point right now. They can play in the wild card berth. I think they're going to get that too. So Kansas City plays the Pirates this weekend. The Cardinals beat the Cincinnati Reds yesterday 6-1. Cincinnati is just not very good at all. And I don't think the Cardinals are either. But the fact is that the Cardinals came away with a win, 6-1. But then they look at the game last night out at Oracle Park in San Francisco. Come on, Giants. No. The Brewers won 3-0. So the Cardinals remain 10 games out with 16 to play. And think about that, Mike. 10 games remaining, 16 to play. Now that's to overhaul first place. That's highly, not impossible, but highly unlikely. And the wild card is highly unlikely for the Cardinals. 6 games out of a wild card berth with 16 games remaining and 2 teams in front of them. They all have to lose. That ain't going to happen.
There's no wild card coming out of the NL Central.
No, it doesn't. It certainly does not look at. Now, the Springfield Cardinals played the San Antonio Missions 4-1 with final. San Antonio got the win over Springfield. Folks, it means nothing. The Springfield Cardinals are in the playoffs. They begin next Tuesday in Little Rock, Arkansas. 1 game there, a day off. And then next Thursday is the Cardinals' home game. 1, maybe 2. We'll find out. It's Thursday and Friday. They get home field advantage. Both of the playoff series in the Texas League are best of 3. Best of 3. So they're very abbreviated. But Springfield's a pretty good team, folks, and they think they can do a lot of damage.
And I know tonight what I'll be doing, watching my K-State Wildcats battle Arizona in Manhattan. That kicks off a really good weekend of college football.
It is indeed, and some great college games coming up here in town. We have the Bears. Their home opener is with Lindenwood. Not very many folks are acquainted with Lindenwood. It's in St. Charles, Missouri, but it's Division I, folks, and they're in the Ohio Valley Conference. Tell you how much of a push they're making at Lindenwood to be a big-time college. Their hockey team plays NCAA college hockey at the top level. That means you're playing Notre Dame and the schools back east and Minnesota Duluth and teams like that. Hey, that's pretty good competition. Anyway, Lindenwood's football team is here for a 6 o'clock game tomorrow night. That is the home opener. I hope everybody gets out to see the Bears. The Bears are a good team, folks. I know they're 0-2, but they played Montana and Ball State, and that's been pretty good competition. The Bears have been in every game. Late tomorrow morning, Missouri plays Boston College. When that game was first on the schedule, I thought, well, this is a piece of cake, because Boston College has, over the past couple of years, not been a contender at all in the Atlantic Coast Conference. That's Duke and North Carolina and Miami and people like that. They've been blasted. Not so fast. They are now 2-0. They've won both their games. One was over Florida State. This will be a nice little challenge, but Missouri is a 16-point favorite. The one that I'm particularly focused on, Alabama. You have to understand Alabama football. Great tradition, Nick Saban and the national championships and all that. Alabama very rarely, almost to the point of saying never, plays above the Mason-Dixon line. They don't go north at all. They play all their games in the South, except Saturday. They're going to Madison, Wisconsin, playing the Wisconsin Badgers. Alabama, Wisconsin. Looks like it should be a great game, but Bama is a 16-point favorite. Georgia, Kentucky. Georgia's number 1 in America. They're playing the Kentucky Wildcats in Lexington. Texas A&M in Florida. Big game for the Florida Gators and their coach. He is on. It's not a hot seat. It is a searing seat that he's on. He could get canned.
This early in the season?
This early. They have not improved at all. And Arkansas down in Fayetteville going to play Alabama Birmingham. Pretty good program there. Oklahoma hosting Tulane. Doesn't look like much of a matchup. It is. Tulane is a very good football team, and many of them going on all across the country.
Last but not least, our Kansas City Chiefs get back-to-back home games, so they're back at Arrowhead this Sunday, taking on the Bengals. Are they favored by a lot in this game?
No, they aren't. Kansas City is favored over the Bengals by about 6, but that's an awful lot of points to give up in the National Football League. Nonetheless, Kansas City, in my opinion, is better than Cincinnati. The Bengals did not look good in their home opener. They looked very rusty. They didn't win it. They got upset by the Patriots, and the Patriots aren't very good at all. But this is pro football, Mike, and you know as well as anyone, having followed the game all these years and followed the Chiefs all these years, that there's a lot of parity. These are professional athletes, and anything can happen. So it's the Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals, and they play at 3:30 on Sunday afternoon here on 104.7 The Cave. Ned Talk, that's the Ozarks pregame show, begins at 1. We're live at 1 right here in this studio. At 2 o'clock, it's the Chiefs pregame show. We join that, and that's an hour-long show as well. And then the football game itself. It'll be, I think, a pretty good ball game. I look for Cincinnati to play a lot better football, but I don't look for them to win.
Hopefully we can hold down the fort and go into week 3 with 2 wins. Ned, you have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday.